As the wind erodes and the water corrodes, altering everything we think we know, but we don't. It's all temporary, and it used to, but now the thought doesn't scare me or keep my feet from following one after another until I slumber. Then my mind, not my feet, wander and dream of people and places I'll never see again. I've mended as much mental anguish as I can, and now I try to use this language to take these thoughts from my head to my pen. Cause though I don't speak of my dead friends or the circumstances, often the blow never softens or yields. I'm in a desolate field, lonesome stargazing, night blazing, chasing traces of remembrance and reverence of relevant friends and acquaintances, and faceless and nameless names and faces. And while my mind is racing through these photo albums and quotations, all these people and places far from me, for only land and stars I see when I'm outside of the mile-high city, which is not my city. For I was born 1,000 miles northeast of there, in the land of beer and lakes and pistol fire, on MLK's birthday, where there is no minorities and segregation's mandatory. But that's a whole nother story altogether, and no matter the weather or hardships that any place brings, I'll still laugh when people shiver and say it's freezing, or say, hey, no, wait, I already had 18 mixed drinks, but I guess it's a Midwest thing, and I'm a mess from a dirty city and brought most of this filth I've gathered with me.
Welcome to another week of Experience Andy Weins Live. And this week, we're going to talk about getting danger close. That's right. Getting danger close, you actually might start believing in yourself. When you surround yourself with the right people, with the right mindsets, you will start achieving all those things, those dreams, those goals, those aspirations, when you change the words. As soon as you get danger close. Coming up after the verse.
My work labors on as lovers sleep in each other's arms, remaining calm and collect. I begin my self-reflection process of redemption. Honestly, I don't know where this road leads, or if I'm even going. Could be rowing upstream, or worse, chasing my dreams to the peak, to finally be somebody doing something with what I have, rather than saying again and again that I can't and I won't anymore from this day forward. Cause Lord knows the past is set in stone, the present is yours to mold and to use for future uses. I know I'm a nuisance, I'm told, cause I'm neither young nor old, nor giant nor gnome. I don't sleep on these streets usually, though I've made thrones of my own. I don't sit well with idle hands, though don't know what to do when I'm home all alone. I'm a menace thrown from society, and as it lies to me, I'll smile silently as others do as they please. I am watching and listening, and I'm grinning all the while, cause sometimes all you can really do is smile. So as the work labors on, I'll keep on singing my songs, and this day's never done. We just keep on spinning around that sun, and well, through all these miles and trials, all I've learned to do is smile. Is to smile.
Morning. Today we're doing a morning episode of Experience Andy Weins Live because we got stuff going on this afternoon. So we're joining you bright and early, getting your day started today. And today we're going to be talking about how we're going to get danger close to the people and the ideas that are going to get us closer to our goals. And what does that look like in real life when you put that best practice into place? All right. As always, we start with a moment of gratitude. This week, I'm thankful for John Troca. John sent me, or he called me this morning, left a voicemail about gratitude. He called this morning thanking me for a couple introductions that I made for him or to him the last couple of weeks here. John is an EOS implementer, the Entrepreneurial Operating System, a system developed by Gino Wickman. I love it. The book Traction. I'm all about EOS. There's like 10, 12 books in the whole suite. I'm all about them, whether it's EOS Life, what the heck is EOS, Rocket Fuel. I read the books. We implement it. We live it. And John is our implementer. He's the one that really makes sure that we are on track. And this morning, he left me a voicemail thanking me for a couple email introductions I made. It was really that simple. What I realize is often I do things in business. It's like I do them because no worries, right? I do them out of the goodness of my heart. I do them because I have an expectation that this is what I do with no expectation of anything in return. And again, that's how to live a righteous life, is to give without expectation of return. And then this morning to get a phone call, which is a rare treat. It's one thing to get emails or thank yous, via text message. Whole other thing for him to take some time out of his day this morning and leave me a voicemail. And so I'll be calling him back. And I send him referrals, introductions. Michael Creed, Mr. Michael Creed talks. We never send referrals, we send introductions. Send an introduction to him because he's great at what he does. And so I'll introduce him to people that I know he can benefit and he can impact them and they can benefit from knowing him. And so when we build this ecosystem of individuals that we trust and we know, right? Know, like, and trust, the three things. And I say 2 out of 3 ain't bad. No different than meatloaf, right? You know him, you trust him, whether you like him or not. That's subjective in my perspective. So I know him, I trust him. He's great at what he does. I love introducing him to people because I know he's going to have an impact on their life. And it felt really good this morning to get that moment of gratitude from him. And he's also transformed our business over the last 18 months. Implementing EOS has transformed our business, allowed me to start this show, allows me the time and space so I can be more creative and do more in this world than running a junk removal company. So thank you to John Troker and the entire EOS system for any entrepreneurs that are running a business from 10 to 250 employees, anywhere from 2 million up to 50 million. EOS, I cannot say enough good things about it. That system has absolutely changed my life. So to John, to EOS, thank you. Second thing, let's pay some bills, right? John is an EOS implementer. He does essentially consulting. He teaches businesses how to business better and implements the system. And I do the same. I come out and I talk about the Language of Leadership workshop, wherein we talk about how to, as a leadership team, how to work together. How do we use language to empower? How do we use language to hold each other accountable? And that's what the Language of Leadership workshop is all about. I do 45 minutes to 90 minutes. It's short ones for lunch and learns and things of that nature. Really, the impact comes with the 4-hour workshop where people walk in with frustrations and confusions and things that are bothering them and walk out with a vivid vision statement of this is what my life is going to be someday. And these are the steps to get there. So 4-hour workshop, the Language of Leaders or Language of Leadership. Still working on that title. Either way, the content is the same. And I got great reviews doing this 4-hour workshop recently. So it has the impact we've been looking for. All right, let's talk about what we're talking about. Getting danger close. And it goes in line with my moment of gratitude this morning with John Taroka about surrounding yourself with the people that have something you like. Right? I talk about that admire, desire, require. You admire things about them. You desire the life they have. And so when you start taking time to implement those people into your life, you start getting closer to what they have. This happened to me 5 years ago. I joined a Vistage CEO roundtable thanks through Mervyn Bird, and that's actually how I met John Taroka. Again, the story kind of tells itself. Anyways, 5 years ago, I joined a CEO roundtable. I was 35 at the time, going on 36. And at the time, my health wasn't a huge priority. Going to the gym wasn't a huge priority. I ate what I wanted. I kind of maintained my weight-ish. And all of a sudden, I'm in the CEO roundtable, and every month we rate ourselves. How are we doing personally? How are we doing our health-wise, and how we're doing professionally? And every time someone would talk about their health number, like, oh, I went to the gym, 5 days a week, right, 5 days this week, or yep, I went for a hike, or yep, I bought a new bike and I put on 40 miles over the weekend. And I'm like, I played volleyball twice, maybe, right? And then I started realizing, man, everybody here has a workout regimen other than me. And I want to have some of the success they had. I value the things that they've been able to implement in their life, and not from a point of contention, a point where I'm comparing myself to them. It's more, they have this thing that I also want. Oh, they have work-life alignment. Oh, they take vacations with their family. Oh, they sleep easy at night, or sleep simpler, sleep easier. Yeah, we get rid of the word easy. They sleep at night. How about they just sleep at night? They sleep at night because they don't have the money worries that I had. So these are the things they had that I desired, not to be them. I had these things that they desired. And in order to get those things that they had that I desired and I admired about them, I needed to change the things I was doing. So I started working out because of that. I took that serious, like, oh, wow, these people are working out. I ought to do the same. And then I realized these people, we talked about certain books they read, EOS, Traction, prime example. They're like, oh, yeah, read this book. I was like, everyone here read this book. Ooh, I'm the only one that hasn't. Oh, let's read, 10X is easier than 2X. That's another book I read in the last 6 months. And it's like, oh, no one else is, that one in that case, no one else read that book, right? So we went from, I was being influenced by them reading, Traction, Profit First, these books that they were like, these are basics. Like, how have you made it in business without reading these? To a point where now this summer I implemented or introduced 10X is easier than 2X to them. And all because I'm starting to surround myself with people that are danger close to what I have. It's one thing to lay in bed at night or fantasize during the day about this life that you want. And then once you start to get close to it, that's when the work actually begins. It's one thing to say, I'm going to quit my job and start my own company. And then you kind of dip your toe into it. And then you're like, ooh, don't like that. I kind of like my paycheck. I like the safety, security. And I know that. I did that for 7 years. 2009, when I was laid off, I started picking up appliances on the side of the road. I started doing a little bit of junk removal, got kind of into it, and then all of a sudden I had the opportunity to start working construction, and I took that safety, I took that security, I took that job. And I still dabbled in junk removal, and then I bartended, and then I convinced myself I didn't have the right schooling, so I wouldn't get an education. I did all those things before I got actually into junk removal. And had I taken the time then to spend more time with entrepreneurial-minded people, more time with people that were in the industry, maybe I would have jumped sooner. And now the inverse of that is I have another show after this show every week, which is the Trash Talk Business Podcast, where I talk about junk removal. And over time, people that were dabbling in junk removal jumped in full time, quit their gig, invested in that next truck, bought the building, hired the person, because they started to surround themselves with the people that had the things that they desired. So this is where you can find those people. You can find your tribe. You can find the best processes and people that align with your goals without it being comparison. This morning, as I was scrolling through LinkedIn first thing in the morning, one thing that I read, I never know if quotes are real because it's the internet. Anyways, allegedly, Confucius said this: we have two lives, and the second begins when you realize we only have one. I read it like 7 times because grammatically I'm like, this is confusing me. And then I kept reading and I was like, oh man, there's something about that. And as I was talking about the show this morning with Taylor, I'm like, there's some truth there, right? We have 2 lives. And the second one starts when you realize you have one. That's what I thought about when it comes to danger close. What are you willing to give up? What are you willing to sacrifice to live that life that you want to live? Because here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, when you go to the gym because you were introduced to, and it made sense by other people, then you got to give something up. You get to give something up. But what is it you give up? Do you give up that movie, that Netflix, that shitty food you're eating? When I chose to get part of a CEO roundtable, I gave a lot of money. It's expensive, even for me. Back then, it was like cost prohibitive. And now it's still expensive. It's the most expensive thing I do every year is to be part of my CEO roundtable. Second most expensive thing I do is to do EOS with our team. So we spend a lot of money putting ourselves through this rigorous program, and the time and the dedication and the emotion, because believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, business is emotional. And all the while I'm giving up the comfort that I otherwise had in order to chase this life I want to get to. That is what danger close feels like. You're getting so close to the thing, the closer you get, the more challenging it becomes. The simple becomes complicated. It's simple to talk about things, thinking, talking, trying. That's simple. It's complicated getting out there in the world and actually doing the thing. And that's why I said we face it while we make it. And not only are you putting the work in to do those things, you're also shedding all these limiting beliefs that prevented you from getting where you are today, danger close. You're getting rid of the people in your life that do not speak the life of danger close. They don't speak the life of where you want to go. In the books, 10x is easier than 2x. It says 80% of what you do is not serving you. 80% is 2x mindset, while 20% is 10x mindset. 20% of what you're doing is what's going to get you to the next level. And every 2 to 3 years, you got to rescrub. And I can look at it to this day. Running my company for the previous 2 years, that's what got me where I'm at today. And now this year, as of January 1st, my business partner, he is our integrator. And he's the one that runs the day-to-day. That was my top 20% to get our company stabilized last year. And now this year, it's become my bottom 80% because now it's his top 20%. And by shedding that, I'm getting closer to being the person I want to be. And that's when the real work begins. Because you can make two choices. You can either fill the void with all these things you want when you don't have the space, or you shed the things that are obviously not serving you, and you make the space for that top 20%. And as you shed, you start to realize, what is that top 20%? It reminds me of something within 10x is easier than 2x, talking about the statue David that Michelangelo carved. The statue David was carved out of a piece of marble, a single piece of marble that was discarded by others. And when Michelangelo was asked, how did you carve the statue of David? He said, it was very simple. I removed all the marble that wasn't David. When it comes to your life, what's the marble around you that does not serve you, does not get you closer to the beautiful, perfect statue that you are inside? In the book, The 4 Agreements, and then the next book, 5 Agreements, they talk about all these things you carry throughout life. It's the preachers, the teachers, and the parents that put these burdens on you because you were perfectly born. When you were born perfect when you were born. You were who you were. And over time, you're burdened with all these things that you now carry in life. It's the domestication of man. Who were you day one when you were wild and you were free and you were creative before you were told no 10,000 times, 20,000 times? Who was that person that said yes to danger? Who was that person that chased their dreams? What do you need to do today to get closer to the person you ought to become, the person you always were? And when you do that, you will start getting rid of the people, the places, the things, the limiting beliefs that got you where you're at today. Maybe you've had friends since high school. Are they still serving your future, or do they serve your past? Maybe you're in a relationship, a romantic one, a spouse that is happy with where they're at and you want more. Those are some deep-seated things. What are you willing to give up to live that life you want? Like Confucius said, you got one life. It begins when you realize you only got the one. So people carry things and they justify things, they provide excuses, and they are in denial about all the things that limit them. You have a choice, ladies and gentlemen. When you reflect, you look back at your life and say, what does serve me? And it starts with having that goal, that dream, that aspiration. What is that danger? What is that thing that scares the hell out of you? Your BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal. What is that? And when it doesn't scare you, it ain't that big, it ain't that hairy, it ain't audacious. What is it that scares you? Because when you get close to it, that danger close we're talking about, you start to feel some sort of way. You feel uncomfortable. You feel exhilarated. Maybe anxiety is kicking in. What can you do to reshape that language? Instead of saying, oh, I'm anxious because I don't know, you can say, I'm excited because I get the opportunity to learn something new. It is that simple, ladies and gentlemen. And the beautiful thing is, the closer you get to danger, the better it's going to feel because you start living. I said this the other day to a gentleman. I'm writing my 3rd book with him. Phrases fucking matter. We talk about the phrases that shape our lives. And I talked about the difference between plateau people and mountain men. Plateau people are the people that are fixed-minded. They got where they're at. They sit there and they look around and it all looks the same. In every direction, it's the same because on top of the plateau, they've made it and it's good enough. No obstacles in their way. No danger to be seen. It's nice and it's safe in every direction. No matter what you do, it is safe because you really haven't lived. Versus the mountain men. The mountain men, whether they look up, down, left, or right, it's always a different view. The mountain men not really sure what's up there, and yet they're climbing that way. They know looking down will get them killed. You have a choice, ladies and gentlemen. Are you going to be a mountain man among the plateau people? 80% of people are plateau people. 80% of people have fixed mindset. 83% of Americans do not have goals. 14% of Americans have goals and never write them down. It's like, oh, I'm going the mountain. I'm not really sure what the peak looks like. It's up there somewhere because I never wrote it down. 3% of Americans have goals and write them down. It's very clear when they hit or they miss. Beautiful thing about writing down a goal is you look back at it and you adjust as needed versus saying, it's kind of there, because then you can lie to yourself and say, I kind of got there. I kind of made it. This is kind of uncomfortable versus saying, this is where I'm going. This is what I'm doing. And then you know when you're danger close. You know when you're having the feels, ooh, I'm getting there. And that's your choice, ladies and gentlemen. Who is it that is close to where you want to go? What limiting beliefs do you need to shed along the way? What actions and activities get you closer to danger close? And this all begins with your language. What words do not serve you? I talk about the 13 shit words and phrases in my book that do not serve. And time again, I have this argument with people. It ends up being a healthy conversation. Yesterday, I was scrubbing a LinkedIn post from somebody. They had the word but 4 times. And as we reread it and changed it to and or, got rid of it entirely, the sentences were as strong, if not stronger. If there's a shit word. They were stronger. That's it. They were stronger when we eliminated the word but, because but justified one of the two things on the left or the right. When you get danger close, when you start to listen to people that are closer to those things that you admire about them and desire, you realize they're going in the direction they're going to go. They do not let limiting self-beliefs, limiting language, limit their feet in the direction they are going. So this week, ladies and gentlemen, take the time, the 3-step methodology, reflect, real time, being aware, and then real time regulating. When you do that, you'll be successful in life because you'll be able to start testing your theory, your goals against where you're at. And you can truly assess whether you're danger close. You can assess who serves you. And ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, you need to get out there and do it. You need to do the fucking thing that you say you're going to do. Tell the fucking world where you're going. The hint there and the secret there is they may join you along the way. They may give you a couple nuggets every now and then when you tell them where you're going. And then show the fuck up. When you get danger close, face it. Face it while you make it. Walk closer to the danger. Walk closer to that big, hairy, audacious goal. And when you show up, the world will show up for you. It's manifestation of what you want in this world when you show up as your authentic self. So this week, as always, ladies and gentlemen, take on that world, slay the dragon, chase the BHAG, and get danger close. I'll see you next week.
Through all these miles and trials, all I've learned to do is smile. Through all these miles and trials, all I've learned to do is smile. Is to smile.